Welcome to Filmmakers Therapy Couch. I'm Dami. In the spotlight, documentary filmmaker Shola Lynch. I caught up with her in New York for some Filmmakers Therapy.
I'm Shola Lynch. I am the director and writer of Free Angela and All Political Prisoners, and we're here at the Real Sisters Film Festival.
And when I look out into the media landscape, I don't really see me. I'm very honored also to be acknowledged with Issa Rae, because none of us fit into the media idea of who they think we are. So let's embrace the awkwardness, people.
The thing about being a filmmaker is I really don't think about I'm aware of my race and gender, and I'm aware of sometimes the obstacles that places in my access to money and all of that. But I think about it kind of not in a negative, but I think about it in a positive. So what's my strategy? What's my workaround? I can't change who I am, and I don't want to be a salty person my whole life going, I can't do this. You know, we all know those people. So I kind of rethink the problem. I rethink the calculation. It really is something special to be honored by your people, in a manner of speaking. But that said, it's not just that it's a story about Angela Davis, a black woman, but that the craft and the work and the storytelling is being respected and honored. It means a lot. The process of making an independent documentary is a tough one. I was a former athlete, so I think that's how I approach it. So, you know, it's like when you lose a race, what do? Do you cry and quit? No, you figure out how to be better. So I think that's the approach that I take to filmmaking, is that I have an end goal, and it takes a long time to get towards it, and there are little choices to make along the way. So when you're grant writing and you get a small grant, that's great. You can now say, hey, I have a grant. But if you're rejected, you know, I find out why, I rewrite my grant and reapply. And so I think the #1 skill for being a filmmaker is to have a vision. So in other words, you have to know what you want to do and what story you want to tell. But then it's to have really thick skin. Because there's mostly rejection along the way. So you have to stay true, committed to yourself. You have to stay true and committed to your vision all the way through. Sometimes I find opportunities that I could never have imagined, and that's the process, that's the fun, that's the adventure that it takes to see something from idea to completion, and then out into the world. Before my first film, I had worked for a number of years for Ken Burns. And so when I was grant writing for that Shirley Chisholm documentary, I asked him, I said, you know, is it okay to include your name on the advisory panel for my film? And he was like, yeah, use my name, no problem. I can't help you raise money on that, but you can use my name. And I was like, great, you know, this is great. And so that what it does is it validates you. We've all been attached to people who have wonderful resumes. And so you're better off going to people who know you and know your work than, you know, to make random calls to people who don't know you, because you're not going to get the response you want, and then you'll get salty about it.
I think too often we're a little too modest as well. Not that we want to be arrogant, but we want to claim the space that we inhabit. And you know what? We are excellent. Thank you.
Persevere no matter what.
In 8th grade that I would be celebrated for being me, essentially, and for doing me, I would have been like, well, what about now? But I would have never expected, you know, that I'd be here awarded for doing what I feel like is right, and telling my stories and telling stories that I thought represented how dynamic we are as Black women.